talking Electric City Volts lacrosse, girls lacrosse, big tournament win this weekend. Aaron Caporuscio is with us, and Coach, let's talk about a great weekend. First thing you think about with these girls is they're great young ladies that come from some nice families, and they work pretty hard at the sport, and it's really growing on them, and as well as it's growing here in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Absolutely. These girls are putting a lot into the sport, and that's why we did this. There was a need. That's why we kind of put this team together. We played in the spring. They're regular teams, and now these girls wanted to play more, so we decided to do a little bit more this summer. In Northeast PA, the sport is still growing, so we don't have a ton of kids to draw from, but we're getting the girls out that want to play and continue to get better at the sport.
A lot of versatility with this group. Talk about some of that versatility, how it helps out.
Well, actually, it's a necessity, because when you think about the limited numbers that we have, we basically on our team have about 6 middies, about 9 attackers, and 2 defenders. So a lot of times we have our girls playing out of position just to help out. We have a lot of girls like Annie Johnson. She's usually playing attack. She played a lot of defense for us. Same thing with Hillary Blasek, playing attack, going down to defense. Emma Kelleher, she's really a great scorer. She's a threat on offense. She played a ton of defense in this tournament and really helped us get to the win. Mackenzie Schweitzer, that's another one. She's one that she's usually on attack. She likes the ball in her hand, but we're running her up and down the field at midfield because that's where we have a need. So getting those girls out there. Julie Gawaki, one more, that's actually always playing attack, but she played a lot of defense in this last tournament for us. So it was something that really helped us, because on the other side of the ball, we have 2 girls not getting a lot of rest when we're playing in that heat, so it's real important.
It seems like they're letting the girls play a little bit more physical, and I think it's welcoming to them, and it's kind of welcoming overall to the community of lacrosse.
It is. Actually, the physicality is something we have to kind of learn, myself as a coach and these girls. They're coming back from camps and saying, oh, we can do this, we can do that. We're going to some tournaments, they're playing high school rules. Some tournaments, they're playing middle school modified rules. So it gets tough, and the number one thing we tell the girls is you just got to learn when you get out there, see what gets called, and adjust to it. We play teams from Maryland. They're really physical, they push us around. We play the teams from New York, they're a little more finesse and speed, so you got to stay with that. So when you talk about versatility, we just talked about the girls switching position. It's also in the way you play the game, and the speed of the game, and the physicality of the game, and they welcome that, and they've adjusted well. For girls, 13, 14 years old, to adjust and learn on the fly like that is just pretty incredible.
Offensively, you do have some firepower, and you mentioned over the weekend that you have different girls that could put it in. Talk about developing those skills, and just, you hear coaches say it all the time, you almost have to be walking around that stick with you all the time.
Absolutely. One of the things we focus on in practice is like stick tricks, because a lot of it's just getting comfortable with the stick, having fun with it. I'm one of those coaches that kind of like them to do different things and try different things. It's one of those things, push your boundaries. Don't play it safe. I tell them when they're in practice, if they're not making mistakes, they're not trying hard enough, they're not doing the right things. We have girls that can score. They're getting used to how they can score, and that's kind of helping them. But, I did mention this weekend, I didn't have the numbers. I actually have them now. We had 15 girls playing. Of the 15 girls, 12 girls scored goals over the weekend. And, one of them's a goalie, so she can't score. So it's pretty impressive to have those kind of numbers.
And these girls play other sports, but I think there's a couple of them starting to find, saying, maybe lacrosse is moving up on that ladder a little bit.
It is, and that's what you see when you go to Maryland, play Maryland teams, when you play Philadelphia teams, when you play some of these upstate New York teams or Long Island teams, you're playing lacrosse players. Now, we really don't have very many lacrosse players. We have athletes that are playing lacrosse, and you're actually seeing that, like you said, we have a couple girls now that, hey, lacrosse is now the #1 sport on their list. We encourage them to play other sports always, because it's good for all their development. But, they're picking lacrosse over, the basketball team sometimes, or the soccer team, or whatever other team. They're playing both, but they're picking lacrosse as the #1, and that's great to see.
Coach, great to see you again. Thanks for coming to Arcaro Genell.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having us, John.
All right, we're with Margaret Mahalik here at Arcaro Genell's Takeaway Kitchen, and Margaret, part of the winning team this weekend, and of course the Electric City team, the Volts, won the lacrosse tournament. Margaret, let's talk a little bit about your role on the team. Coach has you doing some face-offs. How do you do with that?
Well, I play midfield, and most of the time I'm doing the face-offs. Draw control is really hard to do sometimes, because it's kind of unpredictable where the ball will go. But I think what I've gotten better at as I keep doing them is just pushing it forward in front of me, so I have this step forward and they're behind. And usually when I do that, I either try and get it to myself or get it to a teammate so they can run down the field, get the play going.
Seems like it's a combination of power, finesse, athleticism, a little bit of everything at the faceoffs.
What I try and do that helps me is where I position my feet. If I want the ball to go forward a little more, I kind of bend my feet in more and I push my arms a little bit more out. So it's all about where your feet and your arms are most of the time. And the way your feet are pointed is most likely where the ball is going to go.
Talk about some of the girls around you out there on the field and passing to each other, trying to get some of that offense going.
Some of the girls that I think really helped our team in general on any tournaments is, I think, Jill Tolarowski. She's a midfielder. She's really good at either getting a steal when we're on defense, passing it up the field, because that's one of our greatest strengths is we're really able to pass the ball up the field in like 3 passes, and it's on our side, and that's usually how we get our quick goals from.
As far as lacrosse in your life, it's just one of many sports that you do. Talk about being involved athletically and what you like about athletics.
I played basketball on NEPA Flames, which is up in Scranton at Riverfront Sports. That's a ton of fun for me. It keeps me busy during the winter. It's a really fun sport, and I really like playing sports because it helps me stay in shape for all my other sports. Like this fall, I'm going to be running cross country, so that helps me get in shape for basketball in the fall and lacrosse in the winter. It's like chain reaction. So.
Well, you're a busy young lady. Congratulations on a great weekend.
Thank you.
All right, Narissa Jackson joining us from the Volts lacrosse team. And Narissa, let's talk about how you kind of found lacrosse. When did you first start playing it, and when did you start to get good at it?
I started around last season, and I wasn't good at it. My first practice, I got a concussion, so I was out for half the season. And then once I got back into it, I started to really like it, and then I did it more towards the fall and started Volts, and I got better at it. And I started as an attacker and then slowly moved to defense.
It looks like you picked it up pretty quickly. You're a physical player. Talk a little bit about where that physicality comes from.
Yeah, well, it's just kind of a short temper sometimes, so
You got to keep it in check, huh?
Yeah, when the girls get more physical and the rest start to call it, sometimes I get a little mad, and then I start to get a lot more physical than the other girls usually do.
It's starting to become a little bit more of a physical sport. We're talking about it with Coach Caporuscio. Talk about some of the other parts of the game that you like, because there's times where maybe you'll run down and shoot and score a goal. How about the finesse factor, developing some of those skills?
Yeah, like on defense, I like how we're allowed to be able to go down and cross the restraint line and score, so it gives us more of an opportunity. And then attackers, so when we're on attack, we don't usually get the ball much. Like usually it's more the midfielders.
Talk about your young lady in goal for you. She really had a great weekend, and being able to support her and talk with her, a lot of communication down there.
Yeah, Avery's really good. She moves a lot. She's on her toes all the time, and she's really good with throwing the ball out and getting it out to us.
Overall, for you play a couple different sports. Talk about the sport you play in the fall, what you do in the spring, and then of course trying to do lacrosse as well.
Yeah, I do volleyball in the fall, which is really, I just started that, so it's kind of more iffy with me. But I really like that. And then I do track in the spring along with lacrosse, and it helps me with my running, and it gets me in shape a lot better.
All right, well, it sounds like you got your act together, playing a couple of sports and doing your studies. We wish you the best in your future endeavors, okay?
Thank you.
Julia Johnson is with us from the Volts lacrosse team. And Julia, let's talk about your role on the team. There's a lot of girls that have different skill sets. What are your skill sets when you're out there on the field? I know one thing, you're pretty darn fast.
So I play midfielder, and my main job is just to get the ball up the field so we can score and not let the other team score, obviously.
And some of the girls around you that help complement what you do, talk about some of those young ladies.
Well, I know for defense, Julia Rose and Anna Kalu, they both really shut down the other team, and they don't let them score, so that's a big asset to the team. And for offense, all of our attack members, Kelsey Kulak, Hillary Blazik, they all could score. And yeah.
About your confidence as a player, Coach Aaron says, listen, I let everybody know the way it is. Sometimes he'll yell some stuff out, but how do you play with a high level of confidence? And when you're playing with that confidence, you're playing pretty well.
Yeah. So I know when Coach Caporuscio, whenever he yells at me, I try to do whatever to fix my mistake that I did and just try to get the ball to the field and score.
You're a busy young lady, play a few sports. Take us through the whole year, what you play each season.
So for fall, I play soccer, and then in the winter, I play basketball, and then in spring, lacrosse.
And do you have a favorite sport right now?
I probably like all of them the same. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, you're putting out a great effort, and we appreciate it. Good to see you here at the Takeaway Kitchen.
Thank you.
Avery Bogdan joining us from the Volts lacrosse team. And Avery, you got a big role on this team to be in goal. Talk about what's it like getting balls flying at you. I'm sure it could be a little nervous.
Yeah. It's a lot to do with mentally, like thinking a lot, like where's the ball gonna go, I have to look at the stick and how the ball goes off the stick. A lot of the times the girls' eyes, like where they're shooting, I have to go there. And there's also girls rolling, girls passing on the other side of the goal, behind the goal.
You're a good math student, because I bet you there's a lot about angles in
Yeah.
this whole thing, cutting down an angle so a girl has less room to shoot on. Talk about being able to kind of figure that out, as you say, and you're looking at eyes through masks, so it can't be easy for you either.
Yeah.
Overall, let's talk a little bit about your defense that's in front of you.
Well, my defense line consists of Emma Kelher, Julie Rose, Nurse Jackson, and Kelsey Kulak. They're really good with defending and picking up girls. There are a lot of times we'd have to have like double on a girl, and then just picking girls that are more dangerous than others. They do a really good job of that.
So lacrosse is the sport that you play. What are things that you work on to try to get your skills going and make sure that you're prepared? I mean, getting balls fired at you, or just kind of quick hand skills, different things.
Hand-eye coordination and reaction time are really big key in goalkeeping, and anything I could do that, learning juggling or like pitching machines, I work on that. Anything I can really do will help.
So many one-goal games this weekend. I'm sure you had some nerves, but at the same time, you probably had some confidence. Talk about, as the weekend went on, how you were feeling.
Yeah. When I walked into it, I wasn't that confident because there was a lot of teams that looked pretty intimidating, but when I jumped in it, I knew that I had a lot of support from families, my family, my teammates, my coaches. So by the end of it, I was really confident on what I was doing, and I was just playing, performing.
All right, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Hillary Blazik joining us from the Electric City Volts lacrosse team. Won a big tournament this weekend, went 6-0 at the Laxapalooza. And Hillary, let's talk about what does Coach Aaron Caporuscio expect out of you?
Basically to just work with the team and just pass around, not so much shooting all the time. We'll like work as a team, pretty much.
Overall, what's it like to be with these girls? It seems like a nice group of young ladies that are all working hard, and nice to come together and get some wins. That when you first started, I'm sure it wasn't that way, as the Bolts playing some really great teams, but nice after a couple of years.
Yeah, the first 2 years we were pretty bad. Last year we pretty much lost every game, but this year we won every game, so we definitely improved. And I think it took a little bit of time for us to get used to each other, but we're all like really good friends now.
How about the skills that you have as a lacrosse player? Name some that you think that are pretty strong right now, and then others that you still want to keep working on.
Yeah, I feel like everything could have a little bit of work on. Like, I feel like I could get better as every type of player, like defensive and offensive.
Fun? Yeah, having fun with this group. A weekend like this with all the families together and all the girls, what was that like to kind of experience? A lot of work though. You're out there on the field. It's like 80 degrees.
Yeah, I like going out like for lacrosse tournaments. It's just fun to be around everybody, and I like playing lacrosse, obviously.
Of course, you're busy with other sports. Take us through some of the other sports you play as well.
In fall, I play soccer, and in the winter, I play basketball, and then I have lacrosse in the spring. So I pretty much have a sport like all year round.
All right, well, you like to stay busy, and you're doing a great job with it. Continued success your way.
Thank you so much for having me.
Isabella Mendola joins us here at the Takeaway Kitchen at Arcaro Genell. And Isabella, being part of this Volts team, talk a little bit about your role on the team and what you try to do when you're out there on the field.
Well, I try to make the passes and make the girls score. Jill Telerowski and Isabella Caporuscio seem to work very well and pass and get all the cuts into the goal and score. And Grace Parsons very good at that too.
And Grace really had a big weekend. Defensively, your goalie there had a great weekend. Talk about who's in goal and what she was able to do this weekend.
Yeah, Avery Bodkin, she really helped us with the one goal. We had pretty close games and stuff, and she really made really amazing saves and all that. So she helped us a lot.
You have some big physical defenders on your team. Sometimes they're even intimidating, I'm sure, in practice. What's it like knowing that you have some big, strong defenders back there?
Yeah, Kelsey Kulak and Narissa Jackson are they're very aggressive, and they help us a lot by being really aggressive and stuff.
You play a couple different sports. Lacrosse happens to be one of them. Take us through what you do in the fall, the winter, and then in the spring.
In fall I do soccer, and I do travel soccer for all year round. And then in winter I do basketball, and I just started with the school with junior high, and then spring I do track and field, and I just started that.
So you're pretty busy with all these sports. How much has lacrosse grown on you over the last few years playing?
Yeah, well, I played for 3 or 4 years, and I keep gaining confidence as it goes and stuff.
It was a great weekend for the Volts, and great to see you here at Arcaro Genell.
Thank you.